It's time for another video. This video is about Toonami. So Toonami kind of changes their schedule a lot because like any TV channel, shows come, shows go, seasons start, seasons end. However, with Toonami, it tends to sort of I would say they certainly make a big deal out of it whenever they change their schedule because Toonami is a block. It has a specific name. It has a specific feel. It has a specific, maybe you could say, type of show that gets on, and it has a specific fan base that follows it. So when I saw this new schedule update, I thought, well, this is actually interesting enough for me to make a video about because there's kind of a lot here. So this is going to be a video that compares the new schedule, which is going to start September 29th, to the old schedule as it is right now. So let's just kind of go through the schedule and talk about what I think the logic is, because I think Toonami's schedule changes so often that you can actually kind of tell what the thinking is behind putting certain shows on or moving certain shows. So first big thing is the block starts an hour earlier. Used to start at 10, now it starts at 9. Obviously, this seems like a good thing because really, if they're starting the block earlier, that probably means that more people are watching it. And they have a really, I would say, a killer lineup right now. So it's no surprise if the block's doing well. I honestly don't really know if it is going by the actual numbers, but you would think that it is based on this. So Dragon Ball Z Kai is actually coming back probably from the very start. I think Kai ended a couple months ago, and now it's back. Dragon Ball Z is obviously a good standby. I really feel like they're not making this out to be a show that everybody's going to get into and watch, again. And they want to start off the block with that. I feel like this is more of a signifier, just saying, let's kind of start off easy with this. Let the viewers come in, and then get My Hero Academia in there, which will be the show that we actually want everybody to be on their couches for, and to be looking at their computer streams, which is how I watch it, through the legal stream on Adult Swim. So My Hero Academia is at the front of the block, just as it is right now. I still think it really is basically the front, like I said. And My Hero Academia is, of course, finally, after 3 seasons now, really starting to plateau, get really huge to that Attack on Titan Season 1 level of popularity. So it's no surprise that it's not moving. Here's where the interesting stuff starts. So Naruto Shippuden is moving up a lot. It's at 2 a.m., after 8 other shows on Toonami. Now it's the 3rd show in the block. Obviously, what they're trying to do here is they're trying to sort of create a lead into Boruto, which is really, I think, the show that's sparking a lot of this change because this is the premiere of Boruto, Naruto Next Generations. And so Boruto, I think, is the show that they want people to watch. And I think them putting Naruto, this is Boruto's dad, by the way, for those of you who don't know. The reason they're putting Naruto before that is because Naruto obviously has a large fan base already. And, I do think a lot of what Toonami does is trying to cater to maybe the more casual people who really will just be watching a lot of this stuff for the first time. As anime fans, for us, it might almost be weird to think, you might not even think, wait a minute, there are people who are, watching Boruto when Boruto already has 40 episodes and they haven't even started it yet because they're casual. Yeah, I think there are a lot of those people. There are people who watch dubs only, which, is fine. So I think that's, a lot of the thinking is also kind of has to do with those viewers. So they're trying to put Naruto first to say, hey, remember Naruto? Well, here's Boruto after that. I think that's the thinking behind that. It still is interesting that they'd sacrifice a whole half hour of time because they're pushing all these other shows back. So they think moving Naruto up, especially when, by the way, Naruto Shippuden, I believe the dub on Toonami is entering sort of the final arcs of the story, which is still going to be a long time until it ends because the Naruto anime, I believe, has more episodes than there are chapters of the manga, which is freaking ridiculous. So that's still pretty interesting that they think it's a good enough move that they're going to push everything else back. Then we have Super. Super really was the show that used to lead the block. Now it's the 5th show. I kind of doubt that means that Super is doing any worse. Obviously, Dragon Ball is a huge franchise, and they're putting Dragon Ball Z here, so they know it's still big. So I really think that they just think all this stuff has a chance at doing better. I think they might really be taking a gamble with this Naruto to just try to get Boruto off to a really good start. But I think they still want Super to be important. So that's at 11. And you know, I feel like kind of certainly up until 11:30, I think is like the beginning of the block. You know, I feel like after that it gets into the sort of the later shows. Reviewers might start dropping off. So after that, FLCL has now replaced Attack on Titan. So I think I guess there's a few things to talk about here. So first thing is that maybe Attack on Titan Season 3 might not be doing too well right now. The arc of the story that the dub is on is one that is not generally considered good by manga fans. I, for one, really like the arc because I read it all at once in a compilation volume, an omnibus edition. I really like that arc. I think it goes into a lot of interesting things, has a lot of great dialogue, has a lot of cool moments. And the anime's tried to improve it, but perhaps it's still not quite getting what fans want, which, you know, for casual fans, is going to be freaking Titans and Eren in Titan form fighting other Titans. So I have a feeling maybe it's not doing too well, and if there is another block shift, this is kind of a long season of Attack on Titan. There's going to be a lot of Titan fighting later on, so I feel like once it gets into that, wouldn't be surprised once FLCL ends, which it will in 5 episodes, not too long of a time, if to see it switch back. But for now, I also think FLCL Alternative, I think, is sort of being poised to be better than Progressive. I think Progressive, as it went on, didn't really get the reaction that they wanted it to. This is all speculation, by the way, like a lot of this entire video is. And I think the first episode of Alternative is really strong. It's like very confident. It's got this sort of, it's not that intense, which is almost what you expect from FLCL, the sort of intensity, this quickness that Alternative doesn't really do. It does it in a different way. And I think that that's attractive to people. It's something new, but it's still very noticeably FLCL. So I think they're trying to push that a little more. So then we have Attack on Titan, which I kind of already talked about. I think that's why they're pushing it back. And then we have JoJo, which is actually airing at the same time. Pop Team Epic is now not here anymore. So JoJo isn't changing. JoJo is probably pretty good at bringing in viewers because this is, you know, everyone's seeing the dub for the first time. So here's probably the last real interesting thing in this new schedule is that Black Clover is once again moving before Hunter x Hunter, which it used to be when it started. Then they moved it after. Now it's moving before again. So I think it's kind of clear why this is happening. Even though Hunter x Hunter is getting into probably the most critically well-received part in the entire series, it's a series that a lot of people have seen. Black Clover is not. Black Clover is sort of still considered a new anime. And I think it's still gaining popularity. It's not really plateaued yet. It's not really done gaining yet. I'm not a huge fan of the series, but I'm sure the people making the schedule were bolstered by the news that Black Clover will be continuing past its initial 51-episode order, possibly becoming one of those anime like One Piece that goes weekly in perpetuity forever, you know, which I don't like when animes do that. But I think that's still attractive to Toonami, because if they have a show that they know is going to last a really long time, then I think they can feel safe saying, if we can get this show to get viewers, we're going to keep those viewers for a long, long time, because they're going to keep coming back to watch this show. So I think Black Clover, I feel like I heard it was doing well in Japan, the anime, even though the anime is not, I don't think it's critically well received. I think it looks bad, which I think anyone can agree on. And the writing isn't too good either. It's very cookie cutter, as you know. I made a whole video about that, so you can check that video out if you want. But I think that's what they're doing. I think they're saying, yes, we know Hunter x Hunter is in the Chimera Ants arc, which everybody loves, but Hunter x Hunter isn't as new as Black Clover, and we want to take that kind of shot at getting Black Clover to be popular. So after that, we just kind of have the back end of the block, which is all reruns. One Punch Man, of course. It's kind of interesting that I suppose... I feel like if One Punch Man was a longer series, they probably would have even put it up here, because obviously it's still got a lot of love. But for now, they put it back on the block. Just they probably thought they could get some final viewers out of it. I think this is like the third phase of the block over here, maybe at this or after this, where everybody kind of drops off. This is where I drop off. This one is after Hunter x Hunter now, formally after Black Clover. So then they're rerunning Lupin, which is, it's not that good. The old standby Cabo Bebop here, and then New at 3:30, which they did go up until 4 before. is Samurai Jack. They're actually rerunning Samurai Jack, and there's not much to say about it. They probably just thought it would be a good pick to put there. So as you can see, there's kind of a lot you can say about this. It's all speculation. Once again, let me know what you think about what I'm saying here. I don't know. I haven't checked Jason DeMarco's Twitter. He's the guy who runs Toonami. Surely has a big input on this. I don't know if he's been answering people's questions about it, because this is really just a sort of a snap judgment reaction while I wait for the H3 podcast to start, which it will in 2 minutes. And now it's almost starting. So there's the video. Thanks for watching, everybody.